What would happen if you fell into a wormhole? Would you survive? Wormholes are the universe's secret highways. Yeah, that's right. If space and time had an Uber, wormholes would be their fast lane. Imagine you could hop into a wormhole, speed through it, and pop into another galaxy in the blink of an eye. Pretty cool. But hold up. Before you get too excited, you have to understand how much you'd need to know before even thinking about using a wormhole. Therefore, you gotta know what space is really like. And no, it's not just endless dark with a few shiny stars like you see on Instagram. Space is like that awkward, silent part of a Zoom call. But instead of looking at your own face, you're staring into infinite nothingness. And yet, somehow, there's a way to shortcut this lonely void. Enter the wormhole. So, let's imagine you're chilling in your living room. You're watching your favorite show and you realize you're hungry. So, you think, hey, I could just walk to the kitchen, or wait, I could use a wormhole to instantly teleport there. But before you go inside the wormhole, you need to understand how this actually works. Believe it or not, wormholes aren't like the portals in video games where you can just step through and magically end up on the other side. But also they might not even exist yet. But hold on, how did they come? To know, you need to go back in history. Einstein and his buddy Nathan Rosen first proposed wormholes, basically the OGs of cosmic shortcuts, back in the 1930s. They said, hey, what if space could fold in on itself, like a piece of paper, but in 3D? They called this idea the Einstein-Rosen bridge, because they're both smart enough to make me feel like I should have paid more attention in physics class. But we still haven't found a real one. So, while I like to talk about wormholes like they're the next iPhone 17 release, they're kind of a cosmic theory with zero actual proof. That being said, let's assume for a second that wormholes are real. In theory, they would connect two distant parts of the universe, kind of like a cosmic tube. But for this tube to even form, you need insane conditions, things like exotic matter and negative energy. So, you know how wormholes theoretically form, but now you are stepping to go inside one? Let's say you're brave enough, or maybe just dumb enough, to take a trip through a wormhole. But here's the big deal. You could get squished. See, wormholes are a bit unstable, and if you go inside one, the pressure and gravity could stretch you out like a piece of taffy. Imagine this. You're in the wormhole, and it's like a giant space blender. It's not pretty. Scientists call this spaghettification, and it sounds as uncomfortable as it actually is. You'd be stretched into a noodle of human spaghetti, and then, well, that's the end of that. But what if you could survive? What if there was a way out? Therefore, here are two news. The good news, kind of, is that the wormhole might not destroy you. If you somehow manage to navigate the cosmic turbulence, you could reach the other side safely. But the bad news is that wormholes might actually connect you to another part of space and time. Maybe even a completely different universe. No big deal, right? You might just pop out in an alternate version of Earth where people are all wearing jeans made out of cheese. Wouldn't that be a fun surprise? Okay, so you made it through a wormhole. You didn't get turned into space spaghetti, and now you're somewhere in another universe. You'd think life's just going to be peachy, but now you've got a whole new set of problems. Remember how I said wormholes are like secret highways? Well, what if I told you they might be more like dangerous back alleys, with a side of existential crisis? Because while wormholes are cool, they could mess with the fabric of space and time itself. If you go too far, or if something goes wrong, you might end up in a part of the universe where time moves differently. You could pop out and it's 1,000 years in the future. Or you could pop out and discover that your wormhole ride back to Earth is stuck in an infinite loop. Theoretical physicists have some ideas for how to solve these issues. One possible fix is to stabilize the wormhole with something called exotic matter stuff. That has a negative mass. If you could harness this exotic matter, it could keep the wormhole open and safe enough for travel. But we're nowhere close to creating that stuff. Therefore now, just like wormholes, there are black holes. And if you also think that black holes are terrifying, then click on this video.